A globe afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us in the first of the Modern Tao Ke webinar series presented by Globe My Business Academy in cooperation with Chinoy TV. Hoang po, to si Ate Tagelay Changka. I would also like to thank Anvil Business Club, Association of Young Filipino Chinese Entrepreneurs, the Phil-Chi Tao Ke Group, Malabon Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, the Navota San Rafael Phil-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Valenzuela Incorporated for your support, Tosia. My name is Valerie Tan of Chinoy TV, and just like you guys, I'm also a Tauke. We have a hardware store. My family has one, but I had my own skincare and makeup line, which I started 8 years ago. So I can relate to some of your struggles and challenges as well. And guys, I am so excited as you because we will hear from 5 distinguished Chinoy speakers and we will talk about the transformational journey of family businesses through innovation. Starting off with Dr. Henry Lim Bon Liong, the chairman and CEO of the multi-awarded Sterling Paper brand. He is the eldest son of Lim She Leng, who started the same business many years ago. In 2000, he also opened SL Agritech, specializing in hybrid rice technology. And he currently serves as the president of the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, or FFCCCII. Next is Dr. Henry's daughter, Ms. Michelle Lim Gankee, now the person in charge for Sterling Paper's product development and marketing. She is also the executive vice president of SL Agritech, the makers of Doña Maria Premium Rice. And also a globe afternoon to Mr. William Tew Lim, who is the president and CEO of Mega Global Corporation, the leading manufacturer and distributor of canned goods in the country. He also pioneered the fish pump technology in Asia, as well as the easy open can trend in the canned goods industry. And we also have his only daughter, Miss Michelle Tew Lim Chan. She's currently the Vice President for Finance, Support Group, and Export of Mega Global Corporation, where she's been actively involved for 21 years now. And finally, our last speaker is Mr. Steve C., the CEO and founder of Great Deals E-Commerce Corporation, which was featured as one of the 50 rising startup businesses in Southeast Asia. So there you have it, to all of our Taukes at home or at your offices. These are our distinguished panelists, and we are very lucky that we have them to share their knowledge and experiences with us today. And I promise you guys, we will have a very insightful webinar. And as you have noticed, we have a mix of like the first generation, the second generation, and the startup too. So during the panel discussion, I will be actually bulking them up or grouping them up together with the first generation, Dr. Henry, and of course, Sir William. And we have the second generation, the two lovely Michelles, and the startup, who is Sir Steve. So I guess I can start off first with Dr. Henry. So sir, I want to ask you, just to give us a brief background of your business and how did you start your company?
Actually, Valerie, I'm a second generation.
Yeah, for SL Agritech, you are the first generation, but for Sterling, you are the second generation. So dalawang generation nakukuha nyo, no?
Actually, my father started as a very small bookstore way back in 1946 after the war. And unfortunately, we cater into to the Chinese community, in which became smaller and smaller. My father passed away very early. He passed away suddenly in 1976, just fresh out of college. My early 20s, I had to fill up the shoes of my father. But then what I did is that, although my father have a very strong foundation for the Sterling Paper company, but we are not even producing notebooks during that time. So we diversified, producing a lot of other paper products. And I'm happy, that at this point in time, Sterling has been a byword already, for school and office supplies. But of course, we also have to diversify. So Sterling Paper has since become a group of companies which includes real estate, agriculture, call centers, chain of stores, what about shopping malls. And this is what we are today. And of course, I cannot do all of this without innovations, without the support of my siblings. And we are right now training the third generations to come up and try to fill up our shoes. I started in early 20s, now we are in our 60s already, and hopefully, I think we are in good hands. I think the third generations can be more capable of running the companies.
Wow, that's very inspiring. But later we will know more about the family business structure, no. But you mentioned the Sterling paper was started by your father, but also you started SL Agritech.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So usually, the next generation, they're just very not really complacent, but they really concentrate on the primary business. But why did you decide to start another business?
No, diversification is one part of what we are doing. We really have to do innovations also. And as you see, we branch out into other different lines. We are also in real estate. We have some of the biggest industrial subdivisions in the north and the south. So this is what we are. And at that time, I started SL Agritech way back in 1998. That was the most difficult because that was when the financial crisis that hit us, the Asian financial crisis, when a lot of companies were big names like real estate and all of this has gone down, of course. But then, at that time, I decided to go into food manufacturing, agriculture, because we feel that, products of like notebooks can come and go. Right now, we are using iPads already, a lot of other things. But food will always be there. And the most important for food is really rice. Mm-hmm. But what can we do in rice? Already a lot of farmers planting rice already. So we really have to innovate. And one innovation is that we have to come out with rice varieties that are highly yield 2 times or even 3 times more. And then we have to come out with quality rice that is the best taste in the market, and that's what we have been doing. I mean, you can see now that farmers are being benefited by using our seeds, and then we have also people like you consuming our Doña Maria rice. I hope that you like our rice, and we've been exporting our rice also to many other countries. And you are very happy, that what we are today and here right now, and because of this pandemic, all of my other companies has to cease operation except for the rice business. Mm-hmm. And this is precisely, I think, one thing that, a decision that is very hard to do during that time in 1998, but right now we can really see that the fruits of this, our hard labor has begun to trickle in.
Mm. So that's really foresight for you, because at that time, it seemed very challenging, but now the fruits are reaping in right now. So that's go ahead.
When I start planting rice, start doing this rice business, a lot of people, including my friends and relatives, are kidding me. Said, Henry, what are you doing? I mean, no businessman in his right mind is going to plant rice. Let the poor farmers plant the rice. You buy the pala at a cheap price, and then you mill the rice and sell it at a higher price. That's how you make. You're not even planting rice. You're even doing innovations. You are doing, research and development for rice, and that's a bottomless pit. You do not know when you are going to succeed, how much you are going to spend, but then it didn't stop me. So it must be, I'm from UP, so it's a survival talaga. So we have to really sink or swim. So at the end of the day, I'm happy that we came out with a good variety of rice, and then we have even had 6, 7, 8 varieties right now, and we're happy that we are part of the food chain at the moment.
Mm. So, Sir William, a while ago, Dr. Henry already shared with us how his father started Sterling and how he started SL Agritech. But how about you for a Mega? How did you start Mega Sardines?
Well, Mega started with just a fishing company. We don't go directly into sardines operations. So we just catch the sardines and sell to the local canners. And along the way, we found that we could make a better product than those who we are selling to. Then we decided to go into canning operations to compete against those canning group, wherein we know that we could do a better product and very consistent at that. And that's the reason why we went into sardines operations. You know, it's not just sardines operations. After sardines operations, then you have the product. What do? Then you have to go into sales. So yung mga hindi mo pinapasukan, then you really have to go for you to survive. Kasi marami ka na stocks, and what happened? Hindi mo mabenta, so you go into sales. Then later on, you develop into marketing. And with the marketing, so on and so forth, you go into distribution. And along the way, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from what's good. So at least this is what is good about the business, wherein you start from scratch, then from the raw mat to the process, to the sales, to export. And if you could control the whole process, that would make a very good product. And that's what we have established. And it's good that the family members are also involved, and we take pride in their knowledge, and also for them to be part of the group.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir William. And now let's move on to the second generation, starting with Miss Michelle Gankee. Hello, good afternoon, Miss Michelle. Your dad mentioned a while ago that the family is already part of the business. How were you personally involved in the family business? Did you work for the company right away after graduation?
I've been working in our family business for 22 years now.
Wow.
Yes, straight after graduation, less than a month after my graduation, already started. But just like a regular employee or applicant, I went through the exam. I went through the interview with the HR and also with my immediate superior. And I started working under my uncle under Expressions, doing the implementation of SAP system, and then eventually transferred to Sterling Paper for the notebooks, product development, and now I'm also involved with SL Agritech. And my siblings and my cousins are also working in the family business.
Pero di ba usually pag field shy community, even when you were younger, medyo like your parents are already training you. Did you have experiences like that? Like summer, instead of relaxing, you're going to the office. Did you have such experiences also?
Yes. Ano kasi, the office is my playground. The plant, the warehouse. Actually, for the first 16 years of my life, our office is our home. I just go down and that's the office. Kaya I'm really exposed. So right now, my employees who saw me since I was 4 years old are still here with us, and it's just like a big family.
How about you, Miss Michelle Chan? Did you also have the same experience?
Yes, actually, when I was young, my parents used to bring me to the office, and we play there after school. And actually, my mom is an avid Baclaran goer, so she always brings me to Baclaran, and then after we go shopping, and that's where I learn my negotiation skills. So it's a very good training. But I went to Vancouver to study there, so I stayed there for 7 years. And when I graduated, I felt that my parents needed the help. So I decided to leave Vancouver. And at that time, the fishing business has been established, but we were going into a new business model, which is the production, manufacturing, distribution of sardines. So it's more of brand building. So when I came back, we started Mega Sardines. And from that time onwards, 20 years ago, I've been working with the family business.
So you considered
currently,
this is your first job. So this was your first job.
yes.
Okay.
Well, aside from my part-time jobs when I was studying, this is my first formal job. Currently, I'm handling, I'm the VP for Finance and Support Operations, as well as Export Sales.
Mm. So, di ba you mentioned that you studied in Vancouver? Your course there is also related to your job.
No, actually, my course was actually it was a business course, but I focused mainly on information systems. So that's why we are very well versed with technology and innovation. So, yeah.
You mentioned a while ago that you saw there was a need for help in the family business. So it was your own initiative to go into family business.
Yes, my parents never told me to come home. I don't know why, but
Wow.
they never told me that I have to help out with the business. When I was here, I just wanted to help out. Ever since I was young, I really wanted to help my family out. So I decided to come home. But when I was getting married, my dad had only one condition for me to get married. He said, if you get married, I want you to still work for me. So that's one of the conditions, and I obliged, and my husband obliged also. So
Sige, we will learn more about those yung relationships sa family business later. But now let's move to our startup entrepreneur, Sir Steve. Globe afternoon to you. I know that your family has their own business, diba? But you didn't get into that. Why is that? Can you share with us your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, so our family business is into fabrics, no? But personally, as a person, when I got married, I would like to start on my own journey, on my own path. That's why I went into trading. Basically, before I started Radius E-commerce Corp, I have offline stores and we're trading, importing cell phone accessories. But then I realized that during the early 2014 that e-commerce would be a major channel in the coming future, and I started concentrating all of my limited resources, all of the learnings that I would need to learn to be able to, to to know and how to handle e-commerce as a channel, and that's where Great Deals really sprouted during the 2014, 5 years ago. Yeah.
Hmm. Alam mo, Sir Steve, no, you and a while ago, Dr. Henry mentioned, no, parang pareho kayong may foresight. You saw that the future is there, papunta doon. You won't see the effects now, but you will see the benefits in the future. So later we will discuss this more. I'd like to go back to Dr. Henry. Dr. Henry, you mentioned a while ago that you started SL Agritech during the Asian financial crisis. Do you think that was the hardest point of the most challenging time for your business, or is it now the COVID crisis?
I think the COVID crisis right now, I mean, we're quite resilient already at this point in time, but the most difficult was during 1998 because was when I was starting my agriculture business, and then suddenly the Asian financial crisis hit us, the big bang, and then I had to invest also in SL Agritech. I invested more than 500 million pesos during that time, and that time you cannot even get loans from the banks because our interest is hovering above 30 to 35% during that time, and and then you're in agriculture, no. That time, no bank's going to lend you any money. So really, I have to innovate and how to see how I have to spread, of course, my liquidity very thinly. I have to get funds from my other companies, Sterling Paper. I have to get funds from my other companies like my chain of stores. So I cannot open additional stores during that time. I cannot buy additional machineries for Sterling Paper. And then I concentrated on agriculture, on rice. Because, rice is one of the biggest, I think, industries in the Philippines because it's a 450 to 500 billion pesos industry. So, if you just get a small chunk of it, 3 or 5% of that one, that's going to be a very big business for you. And but at the end of the day, I mean, we came out with a good variety, but it's really blood, sweat, and tears, I have to tell you, Valerie, because we met a very tragic accident in the year 2000 in which when we opened a department store in Olongapo on our way back, 10 o'clock at night, our family van was hit by a container trailer head-on. In that accident, I lost my mother, who was sitting on my left side. I lost my younger brother, Willie, who was sitting on my right side. The driver died the next day. All of us were seriously injured. I had 5 broken ribs, I had a cracked pelvic, I had pneumothorax, so my blood vessels in my lung busted. The doctors inserted a tube, it drew more than 2 liters of blood out of my lungs. I suffered from vertigo. I thought I'm going to die. That was the most challenging during that time. I was even cursing to heaven why this has to happen to my family. But then, the stroke of luck, in 2 months' time, November 17, 2000 was when we made the accident. January 17, 2001. Suddenly we came out with a variety of rice called SL8 that is incomparable to any others. At this moment in time, we are still one of the best performing varieties of hybrid rice, not only here in the Philippines, but all over Southeast Asia. And this actually revolutionized the whole rice industries now. Right now, we have more than 500,000 hectares of our farmers using our seeds already, and farmers are benefiting from this one. A lot of farmers become millionaires. They can make 200 to 250,000 pesos per hectare. Aside, before they can hardly even make 30,000 pesos per hectare. So, you know, the farmers are very happy. And that's where we came out with Doña Maria. Doña Maria is named after my mother. So when we that is very, it's a cross between jasmine rice and Japanese rice. No? So that's why I call it Jasponica. No?
So you innovate, yes. So you innovated. That's why you were able to overcome those risks and challenges. Is that correct?
And I believe that we are the first one to go into advertising, even for notebooks. No, you know, in 1976, when my father passed away, when I came out with our first notebooks, I really advertised also. You know, armed with only 2 million pesos during that time, I went to J. Walter Thompson. I talked to J.J. Calero, who was the president of J. Walter Thompson during that time, and he was laughing at me. Then with 2 million pesos, what are you going to do? I said, I want to try media. Not only for my notebooks, but for my photo albums, my stationery letter sets. He laughed at me, but then at the end of the day, he accepted my offer of this 2 million, and we were able to do advertising. Ever since now, you know, everybody knows about sterling paper, and also for rice. We're the first one to advertise rice also in the Philippines. And somebody was saying, how can you ever advertise a commodity? But that's what we are doing. And now I think most people also know about this Doña Maria rice.
Yes, definitely. It has become, the Doña Maria rice has become a brand in itself already. So parang different siya sa normal rice. Parang ano siya, di, parang mas social and a better quality. That's how it comes off to the consumer. So basically, Dr. Henry innovated and also dabbled into advertising as ways to cope from the challenges.
Literally, when we are importing rice at around $400 per metric ton, I'm exporting my rice at $1,200 per metric ton. That's why the government, NFA, allows me to export my rice while we're still importing rice, but because I've added value for my rice, and they're very happy now. You know, for the last 20 years, Philippines has never exported rice, and then I'm the first one to do export of rice. Not only our white rice, but also our brown rice is also one of the best tasting brown rice also over the world.
Okay.
We are happy.
That's very inspiring, Dr. Henry. And how about you, Sir William? What was the biggest challenge, or currently is it the COVID-19 that's the biggest challenge your company has ever encountered?
Before COVID-19, the challenge is if we go into canning operations, of course, the other canners would not be buying our fish. So the problem is, so what happens if they don't buy our fish and we just have to can it ourselves? So can we do a better product? So what we did is, for our fishing side, we preserve the fish better than the others fishing, and we are putting salt back in our solutions, prime solutions, so that at least when we innovate with the fish pump, traditional method of braining the fish is about 30 tons, about 1.5 hours. But when we innovate with the fish pump, we are pumping fish with the 30 tons in just 15 minutes time, and it's being pumped to the tanks wherein it's chilled seawater at 0 degree, and the fish is still alive. And that's, for us, a fishing company, we are willing to invest in that kind of innovations, knowing for the product, or knowing for the finished product would be a very good, consistent product. And we don't stop there. We innovate on adding salt. We did a lot of things wherein we are competing with the branded sardines of 50, 60 years. And if we don't do something different, then that would be a problem. We cannot compete with them. And that's what we did. We try to innovate. We try to continuously learn. And at least over some time, Of course, with our help, with the help of my daughter, my sons, into sales distributions, we click, and that's wherein Mega Sardines brand was born. But it's not only there. We come in with different product. Of course, easy open, and all our product coming out has to be easy open because that's our trademark. Once you have the trademark like that, then you try to continue so that at least the product that you're selling is of the highest quality that people would know. And that's what they called us tatak barko, tatak sariwa.
Yes. Yan yung mga easy open ka, di ba? That's the first ever in the country started from Mega. So the things that you shared, no, sir, it's also innovate and also invest in the product also.
Yeah, but you have to continuously learn. If you just innovate, and where are you getting the innovations from? You're learning from other places, from other countries, and you do research. And that's why if you stop doing that, that means that you cannot progress. Your level of branding is up to there. Sooner or later, somebody is going to overtake you, and that will be your end. So for us to continue leveling up, that's the reason why it's good to have my children working for the company, and sooner or later it will be theirs, but we rather have it sooner that it's theirs to distribute the dividend, so that at least whatever project they would like, succession planning is there. They have the funds. They don't have to wait for the parent to go away for them to be sharing of the bountiful harvest. But present time, they should be happy, and they should be a source of income to be generated with their ideas, so that the dividend can get bigger and bigger from time to time.
Para everyone happy, di ba? And also, Sir William shared that parang you can't be complacent, di ba? Just because you're number one, hindi na okay lang, relax lang. Sir William is sharing with us na dapat we're still on our toes even if we're number one. So I'd like to move to Miss Michelle Gankee, no? You mentioned a while ago you have siblings, di ba? The working also in the family business. What are the challenges with that? Meron bang parang ako yung atsi, di ba? Minsan nabablurred yung lines ng work tsaka ng family. Have you experienced that?
Ang more challenging is we working with our dad.
Oh.
Kasi, syempre, if my dad gets mad, di ba? Minsan, if we have family dinners, usually it's family meetings, di ba? Minsan may sermon, di ba? But we've grown used to it, even if my dad has a short temper. Pero madali rin mawala. So, kaming magkakapatid actually grew closer because of how we work with my dad. And being the eldest, I've been working the longest with my dad, and I can say na we both somewhat we think alike. And I help with the communication from my siblings with my dad also. And my dad taught us how to handle pressure, how to handle stress. Sabi nga namin if Henry Limbonyong is your dad, you can handle anything.
Wow.
Talaga, kasi you'll be resilient naturally. Yes. And another challenge is, of course, earning the trust and confidence. Syempre, when you're new, especially when you're new, besides being, of course, parang the COO, diba, the child of owner in the office, you have to earn the trust and confidence of the people. It's good that I started from the bottom, and you are equipped with all the information, with all the knowledge, and with the different departments. And it's through there that you can earn the trust and confidence of your people, and also to gain knowledge through experience.
You had the best mentor, your dad, diba? And now let's move on to Miss Michelle Chan. How about you? What would be your biggest challenge in the family business, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, personally, actually, I don't really have any big challenges, especially with dealing with the first generation. I was trained very well by my dad and my mom. When my dad goes to meetings, he usually tags me along. So I learned from him. They have instilled the discipline in me and the values that are important. So when it's my time to make the decision, it's always aligned with those values.
Mm.
And I'm really lucky because they gave me a free hand to make the decisions and to make my own mistakes. But within our company, I think what's very important is really communication. We have a monthly execo meeting where we report our status for the month, and also we thresh out our problems there. We have consultants who are the best in their fields to give us the best practices and to give us guidance. So I think everything can be solved. For me, family is more important than money. So harmony is one of the things that we look at when we do business dealings with our families.
So you mentioned you had you hired consultants. These consultants are third party, not part of the
Yes,
family.
yes, they're not part of the family. They're sort of our board of directors, and they've been with us for quite a while. And they are really the our secret for the
Mm.
success of our mega because they really helped us a lot.
Kasi there's a third person or third party objective, 'di ba, point of view versus
Yes.
kung family kayo lang, at least someone else who can give like sound objective advice.
Yes, and they
Valerie,
serve as a referee also.
yeah.
Mm.
So,
Valerie, can I interject?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
You know, coming from college and they don't have much experience, and but we don't we don't stop there. So you don't have the experience. Why not get somebody who could train you? No,
Mm.
so we trained. We get sales people. We get sales consultant, marketing consultant of those things, so that at least they could be taught and they have to learn from them. Because if not, then we are nothing. And what we know is what we have. But what we don't know and other people are teaching them, that makes a lot of difference. And yun ang sinasabi na natin. Let's spend more on this so that they could be trained. Without the proper training, when you're leveling up, maiiwanan kayo. And we value our consultant very much because they are tremendous help. Even at the beginning when we have our meetings, magsisigawan yan. Kasi they have the different opinions. But the only problem is, at the end of the day, we have one purpose, not family unity and for this sales business to grow. And that's what we did. And as of now, we still have consultant teaching us. And we are entering into a lot of business. We don't know. But with this consultant, we gain the advantage that it would take us shorter time to learn.
That's a very good tip. Thank you so much, Sir William. So yung mga, for those Tao Ke attendees, no, that's a good tip. No? Yung, that the money that you spend on hiring consultants, it will actually save you money from future mistakes. So Sir Steve, how about you with the e-commerce business that you have? No, it's not easy to get into that. So what were the challenges that you had to face in operating an e-commerce business, and how did you overcome it?
Okay. So as a startup, the number one concern talaga is not just many people think it's about capital, but I think the key here is I look at the business as the most important asset that really have is the talent that needs, because if you know as Sir William has said, if you know the knowledge on how to fast track your business, then you have the advantage already. Even as like we have said in Great Deals, we are really a disruptor on so many fronts because of e-commerce, because we have used tech to enable our company to scale. And one thing is to be able to hire the right talent and digital native people in your company so that you'll be able to also grow in this digital age. No? So ang sa akin is finding the right team, creating the right team was my major responsibility and role as a founder of the company. So that as you're able to have a great team, then you'll be able to execute all your business plans and strategy. So it, of course, in business, especially during the first few years of e-commerce na hindi pa talaga kilala yung mga Lazada, Shopee, all of these web stores. It was really a journey that I would say a desert experience journey that you have to go through this desert experience so that you'll be able to hit the promised land. No? And during this time, I think there's an inflection point for e-commerce during this COVID. No, when I say inflection point, this is the time that e-commerce is the new retail, kumbaga, here in the Philippines. No, and we're just in the right time right now to be able to really exponentially grow our business during this pandemic.
Sir Steve, you mentioned a while ago there was a time na parang desert, di ba? Why did you hang on? Di ba other people just suddenly give up? But why did you still keep going on?
I believe really that e-commerce will be the new channel.
So you were thinking always long term?
Long term, medium term, importante lang I was able to sustain day by day our operations, our cash flow, all of these things so that when the time comes, yun, pwede nang sumabog, parang ganyan, no? And
now is the time, hopefully. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Sir Steve. Let's move on to Dr. Henry. Dr. Henry, di ba, we are hearing this quote usually, di ba? The first generation builds a company, second generation maintains, and third generation squanders. It's such a sad quote. But how about you, Dr. Henry? When passing on the leadership to a family member, what steps do you take to make sure that the company stays successful?
Valerie, even before that, I'm quite thrilled with what Steve is saying regarding e-commerce. We know we are one of the first company to do e-commerce in the Philippines. That was also way back in the late 90s, 97, 98, when they come up with the staples.king.com. At that time, I think we were quite early for that because for the 2 or 3 years, our revenues cannot really, fill up our expenses. So I shut it down at that time because we do not have smartphones. Not all of us has Wi-Fi, whatever. So I really closed it down. But then when I met Jack Ma, a couple of years later, because Jack Ma said, during that time, he was just starting. In the late 90s, he was just starting. So it's Amazon in America also starting during that time. But Jack Ma was saying that, today is going to be very difficult. Tomorrow is going to be more difficult. The day after tomorrow might be pleasant. But a lot of people die tomorrow night already. So, they never reach the day after tomorrow. So with that, I kept that in mind. So I started e-commerce again last year. I bought some companies. I suppose one of the top 10 e-commerce company. But then again, right now we feel that we are struggling still because maybe before we are too early, but right now we are a little bit late. Even Lazada, Shopee are there already and all this. But these are the things that we learned also. Okay, so going back to the first generation started the business, the second generation maintained it, the third generation was contrary, whatever. But it all depends on the family values. We have good family values also. My father put up some sort of one family values in China. In Chinese, we call it Yong Hao, Yim Liong. Of course, Liong is loyalty. That's very important for us. Loyalty to what you are doing. Not only loyalty to your spouse or loyalty to whatever, but I was telling my people that loyalty to the company is very important also. That's Liong. How is was we have to respect the elders. For those who are my siblings, we also respect each other, and then we have to that's what we are doing. Kyong Hao. Yim, of course, you have to really a lot of things that if you step one step backwards with this, that's going to be 2 steps forward also. So that's what you are doing. And Liong, of course, Liong Tua, Hok Tua. So what we are doing is, of course, we take care of our own people. We also, of course, we have a lot of philanthropy also. Just being the president of the Federation of Filipino Chamber of Commerce already, we spend a lot of money. We donated a lot of money. We were close over 100 million during how many years with the federations that we are giving it out. And then we also do it anonymously many times. And you saw in the newspaper that people need bone marrow transplant, they need money, they need whatever. So just shoot that particular, and then forward it to my treasury department. Okay, maybe you can just deposit 50,000 pesos to that particular account anonymously. So that's what we've been doing. And then I was telling my people also, we have more than 10,000 people in our employees, by the way. So I was saying that if I can do it to others which I do not know, the more that you are working for me, we will make sure that we will take care of all of you. So that's what I mean. It's very difficult not to take care of all of your people, but we are doing it. And that's why we have good people who have been staying with us for the last 40, 45 years. Very loyal people, very good people. And another thing is that we are passing these company values, these values, even family values, company values also all together. And this will really make your generation, even the third generations, you know, becoming beholden, of course, to what they should do for the company. Again, I have to go back also that how my father also mentored me. Although my father passed away very early, passed away in his late 40s and in this sudden trip to Hong Kong. So, you know, but then I learned from him. He has always been telling me, he said, you know, he will always tell me, you know, Henry, he called me Henry. No, now what I'm making, how do you sell high and sell more? Sell high and sell more. So the first notebooks that will come out now, he wanted me to sell high. But you know, during that time, if I can produce my notebooks, there are also more than other companies producing notebooks also. So how can I sell higher than them? So, you know, I put that notebook in front of me. I meditated for the next 30 minutes to 1 hour. And then I said, okay, if I can produce a notebook that has a design, because what you attracted you is a notebook cover. If a design that will also attract the parents, also attract the children, the school children to buy your notebooks, that will be it. So that time I hired around 25 artists now. And then we start using computers also. I mean, not all the banks are using computers, already for designings and all these things. And then once you have the designs already, the next thing is that when people will pick up your notebook, and then when they open the notebooks and they see the quality of paper, you know, I mean, so you have to make sure the quality of papers are better than the others. The grammage, the opacity, the smoothness, the whiteness, the brightness, all of this has to be taken into account. So that's why we have the designs, and then we have the quality. The third one is the price. And then I will go out to the market and I'll look at the highest price notebooks, and I'll even price myself 5 to 10% higher than them. And after that, you really have to go advertising also. So with that, right now, I would like to say that after so many years now, we are one of the biggest producers of notebook at this point in time. If you want to use maybe National Bookstore and SM as a barometer, a benchmark, we sell the most number of notebooks in the store. So this is what you did, you know. Because a lot of people say, oh, I mean, that's the easier said than done. I mean, of course, it's really like that. But the challenge is that so how do you do that? So that's what we've been doing. And if you see all our product lines, even our industrial subdivisions, we price ourselves higher than them, but we have a better subdivision environment than others, wider road, good securities, and all of these things. Even our rice now, we price our rice even higher than others now, but you are still selling. So these are the things that we would like to also inculcate into the next generations, and hopefully, you know, we also, you know, was looking at William. I mean, I also admire William, and we have a lot of common things. So of course, aside from having the same surname as Lim, and then I think we had a chat the other day, and I discovered that we have very similar upbringings. And during our study, I studied at Chiang Kai-shek and Siang Kun. I did not have a formal Chinese education because in junior high school, I stopped already. And then I transferred to Letran. Similar to William, I think he started in Grace High School, and then he went to Sambeta. And then I went to UP, he went to UP also. I went to Harvard at OPM, and then he also went to Harvard at OPM. And then my daughter's name is Michelle, his daughter's name is Michelle. So, you know, we have a lot of similarities. And I'm happy, you know, that both of us are here together in this panel together. So that's it, Valerie. I hope not.
Yes.
I don't get myself bored, but William, nice meeting you again here in this show.
Yeah,
Sir,
likewise, Edri.
Sir William, di ba, Dr. Henry was saying you have two daughters, same Michelle, no? Based on my research, I think your daughter Michelle is doing such a great job with the company, a lot of innovations. But how would you ensure that the company lasts beyond the third generation?
You know, after Harvard, no, that's wherein what you're doing is working on long term so that the company could last. And what we are doing is succession planning. With succession planning, you just don't do it overnight. You do meetings, execom meetings, so on and so forth. You start there, communications, reports, and so on and so forth. And it's all about accountability. What Henry said, idol ko yan si Henry. At I admire him. Magaling siya. Problem is, when Chinese businessmen usually command their children to follow their footsteps, pero there are a lot of resistance because the pay is not so good and masyadong mahabang oras. So a lot of people are complaining, the sons, daughter. For me, if we were to be competitive, then we have to increase salaries, which they are always asking, to give dividend. You know, giving those things is surrendering your power. But if you don't do that, it's going to last first generation. Second generations, walang susunod yan. You just have to give in because for the fact that they have more knowledge than you. Kaya that's why I'm forced to go into Harvard OPM because during the meetings, ang dami nilang ideas. And sabi ko, where are they getting those ideas? Ideas coming from MBA, so on and so forth. Sabi ko, pag marunong sila, dapat marunong din ako. Para at least may masasagot din ako. So, at the age of 65, I went into Harvard OPM course. And it's a really good course for 3 years. So, and when I came back, reorganized, and now it's being run much more professionally. And I know that we could last even second, even third generations. We are setting the patterns. We are setting the rules of engagement. Para at least mawala kami, it's there. Distribution-wise, wala nang problema. And as I said, bottom line is you have to give up power. You have to empower your younger generations to come up to make decisions, whether right or wrong, and support them and make corrections after. If they don't make mistakes, mahirap yan. They would be very mayabang na kasi hindi na mamali. But once they make wrong decisions, they become very humble. They make corrections. So that's why it's always good to have failures. And after the failures, you make corrections and you become stronger. Second generations, I don't think I would have a problem. Third generations, we are trying to establish. But it's always compromise between the head, which is, are they open to sharing of power? Older generations, no, I built this business for so long a time, I'm always right. No, but if you do that, you're shutting out the younger generations to give suggestion, to give ideas. And with this compromise, I always try to see the other companies. Sabi ko, magandang product, sayang naman. Bakit hindi naging interested ang second generations? It's all about compromise. Second generations, they want to prove a point. Kaya ko ito. Pero they take a lot of risk. And when taking a lot of risk, the older generation build up the fortunes over 10, 20 years. The younger generation, they would like to risk it 1 or 2 years, which is not possible. But over time, when you try to communicate and discuss, you come up with a compromise. And that compromise is all about communications.
Sir William, it takes a lot of humility to admit that you have a lot to learn pa with the, di ba yung parang naging open kayo to learn about new techniques, new innovation. So that's very big of you. So let's move on to Miss Michelle Gankee, no? You being the second generation, what major improvements or innovations did you take to maintain the company's success?
I am lucky that my dad is not only just open to innovation, but he is an advocate of it. He encourages it, and he added it to actually to our one of our pillars in our company. So we have product leadership, operational excellence, and customer intimacy. So the fourth one is innovation, and that's why currently we are upgrading our SAP system already. We're expanding our online business, and we are already exporting to 14 countries. And our rice business is not just rice. We are already producing brown rice puffs. So we have barbecue, cheese flavor brown rice puffs, and we are developing more and more products. And my dad, of course, is also excited in tasting our new product development, and uh, we will not launch it unless it passes his taste also. And so we're very lucky with that. Um, he listens. He listens to us when we present like this is the new technology now. This is what we should do. On top of the regular advertising, he is also open to, social media. Uh, my dad is very active in Facebook. He accepts everyone, all friend requests.
Okay,
Even
I'll add doctor later.
and he replies to private messages of everyone. Even just someone asking for advice, even if he doesn't know them.
That's nice.
Um, so we have those good things happening, and that's why when we talk, uh, all our ideas are open, and we filter, and then in the end we will justify the top one or top two that we pick. So that's how we do it.
How about you, Michelle of Omega? What major improvements or innovations did you take to maintain the company's success?
Actually, for me, I set up the systems control, policies and procedures because this is what will take the company next step forward. We will be able to pass this on to the next generation because if we have the controls, then we will minimize fraud and abuse. So once we have that, we are sure that we will have checkpoints if there will be abuse, and this is also in preparation for our future IPO. We are planning for that, and we have to be ready because it's very tedious. Well, one critical point that we did last 2012 was to implement SAP. We were growing very fast at that time, and we needed a system to grow faster with us. So we had that, and it's very very successful. Right now, we have our reports through SAP, and the critical control points was is addressed. And I think this gave us a lot of data where we can analyze where we're doing what we're doing, if it's doing good or not. So it's very, very important. And I think one of the best innovation that we really had is my dad's idea of the easy open can. We launched it 2012 as well, but since then we have been getting good feedbacks. We launched it at a subsidized price, so we did not increase our price, and that brought us the number one sardines brand last 2015. So we're very happy with it. My dad is very happy with how we are doing things, and as I've mentioned, he allows us to make our own decisions, and he allows us to make our mistakes. And he's a kind boss, and he doesn't really get angry a lot, but because he is a old tauke, so he's usually thrifty, and sometimes my brother, who is handling sales and marketing, is usually he spends so much, so I have to balance both of them. So that's where I
You,
come into play.
yes.
Yeah, because we cannot spend too much, so we compromise in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Susan,
Valerie,
yeah,
can
go
I
ahead.
interject again?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Being the chairman and the president, na overruled pala ako.
Ng anak.
They want to spend, and for me, sabi ko, let's just not spend that much. Pero once voting comes, na overrule, so sige na, okay. Nandun na, natalo na ako, kayo na, sige na.
So,
So
parang
you
reach
have
a
to do that
compromise
too.
na lang. No? Oh, reach a compromise, no?
That's why,
Yes,
for us,
actually, my
yeah, we want them to be empowered. We want them to make decisions. If you stop them, susunod, wala na yan. So that's the problem na, sige, okay lang, bahala na kayo, tingnan ninyo. But
Val,
give me the returns. Pag wala, nako, sasabon ko yun.
Actually, my dad is very fair. So he listens to our reasons. But we have to make sure what we propose to him will give us the returns. If not,
Yes.
yon, doon na yung magiging problem. But usually, we do well. So,
With greater trust comes greater responsibility, di ba? The greater
right.
trust that Sir William gives to you, dapat may returns. Alam natin yung the normal retail is already challenging itself. But Sir Steve, sa e-commerce, it's a totally different animal, di ba? Sometimes talagang yung price war doon sobrang higpit and then the changes are so fast. So how do you adjust to that? What steps are you taking to make sure that the business stays relevant?
Yeah. So definitely right now, there's a lot of, we need to really adapt to the fast changing world of e-commerce. So before, there's Lazada, Shopee, as we have said, but right now there's what we call quick commerce, especially during this COVID, that people would like their products to be available already in 30 minutes or less, to be able to be delivered in 30 minutes or less.
Wow!
Partnered with Grab, with Food Panda, opening up their Grab Mart, so that people will be products, essential goods will be available on a community level in 30 minutes or less. So those are some of the things that we've done during the COVID-19 ECQ time, and those are that's why it's very important for companies because we handle a lot of multinational like Unilever, Abbott, Nestle, San Miguel Foods, Del Monte, Century. So most of these companies, they are really built for brick and mortar. So we are here as an e-commerce enabler for them to fast track and accelerate their e-commerce journey by tapping our expertise in terms of running an e-commerce channels for these brands and retailers. So yun yung isang, I think we need to always be on the ground, knowing what the consumer really wants. Especially during EZQ, consumer behavior has truly changed. People are now more health conscious, hygienic. No, they want to stay at home. That's why there's what we call as home economy na. Everything evolves around the home. No, that's why economy is E- for online economy. No, that people are really adapting to this. Most businesses need to adapt as fast as they could so that they'll stay relevant even for the next 2 years as we fight this COVID pandemic.
This COVID happened so fast and the changes happened so fast. So my question for Dr. Henry is, what is the impact of the COVID crisis in your respective industry?
Actually, this does not only affect our industry. This affects practically everybody. And what differs from other before is that this is a matter of life and death also. If you got infected, I have friends who died this COVID also, and one of our past president of the federation also passed away. So these are the things that we are really very wary about. This it's not only business, it's not only financials, but it's really a matter of life and death. So the most important thing is how to preserve life at this moment, how to follow the government's guidelines for quarantine, and how to make sure that the workplace is rid of all of these people that have this the e-commerce, the the COVID virus right now. That's why we have these rapid test kits that we are investing also. We bought quite a number, a few thousands of that one to really do testing for all our employees. And we have to do this regularly also, maybe every 15 days to make sure that none of them are infected that will be working with us. We do also social distancing. We try to see how we could try to do, maybe on a weekly, because right now the place that they are working now, we cannot afford to it 1 meter or 6 feet, 2 meters or 6 feet away from it. That's why we have to do it on an alternate basis now. And this will be a very big challenge for us, but we have to do it now. This only different thing others from other financial crisis that hit us. This is the one that matters life and death, and we really have to be very careful about this.
So you are taking it seriously. How about you, Sir William? I'm sure you are too. How is the business coping with the current health crisis, and what adjustments have you done?
It's fortunate for us to be in food business. Initially, yung topic yan is what would happen with the business. And for us, during off-seasons up to March 1st, so we start operations, tama-tama may mga quarantine na. So we cannot get enough people to do the canning operations. So the problem is, meron ka tayong isda na galing sa fishing boats, and yet we don't have the canning people to do the canning. And there are a lot of orders coming in to be fulfilled. So nagiging issue dyan is how do we get away from having that lacking in manpower. It's good that we planned 2 or 3 years ago that we went into automations and we have lesser manpower needed. But overall, it's on a 50 to 70% capacity. But the problem is COVID, there are positive for business, there are negative. I think Steve business is good because e-commerce right now, it's booming. And congratulations to Steve. Nandun, tiyempo lang. But for us, the likes of having in food business, if your brand is not selling, even though you have the stocks, you're going to have difficulties. That's why it's always branding. And how are you building your brand? Is it just 1 year, 2 years? We have been building our brand since 2000. And that's the way to go. As Henry is saying also, you need to advertise for the consumer to know that you have such a product. And that's why we are very consistent in our saying, tatak barko, tatak sariwa, because we have the fishing boat to catch the fish, and we have our own canning, and we have our own sales distribution, so that we don't have to rely on others, wherein if they would be giving us inferior ingredients or whatever kind, so we are not at risk. And as we said, COVID is here to stay. It's a new normal, and what is going to be doing, ordering from e-commerce because of social distancing, because of quarantine, and I can see a lot of frozen product coming in, wherein people will be buying for the house to be cooked, and who knows. Pero on the canning side, our sales is still good, and they are hitting numbers wherein we just cannot supply, but we just have to take it because we have to protect our distributors. We have to protect our supermarket because that's our long-term partner. And there are a lot of orders coming in from LGU, so on and so forth. If we serve them all, we might not be able to serve our supermarket and our distributors. And where would they be if it comes back to normal? That's why the protection is always, let's give to our long-term partner. And if we have excess stocks, then let's give them. But always work on a long term so that at least the solutions is quite easy.
Of course, this is a new normal, and no one really expected it. But I read an article before. I saw Bill Gates talking about it, that a virus is really the modern generation's war. So sooner or later, another pandemic will come along, maybe decades from now or several years from now. But you, Michelle, Gankee, knowing that another crisis would come decades from now or sooner or later, what innovations will the company make or prepare for the future?
Right now, we are in the middle of establishing our third rice mill operations. Um, it will be done by third to fourth quarter this year. To increase, this will double our capacity, and we're also beefed up our e-commerce and our online delivery service. Our online site is shopcentral.com.ph. It doesn't just cater to the rice, but also our school and office supplies. And we are also open uh, to list all other products, not only our own. And and also we also have a Sterling Pharmacy. It's a new business. We have 3 branches, and they remained open the whole ECQ time, and we are continuously serving customers. And those that who cannot go to the pharmacy, we use the Grab and Lala Move and other services, and also uh, our Sterling paper side. We are also starting to, actually we already started doing face shields uh, last April, and we are lucky that we have these extra raw materials of acetate that is being used for rulers. We have garters for the notebooks. We also have foams. We have all those things complete, and we have an uncle who is a doctor who's really pleading, can you supply face shields, especially for the COVID hospitals. We already produced almost 300,000 pieces. Many were buying for donations. And so that's also another opportunity that maybe we can continue making those and not just using up my ruler raw materials. So those are the things that we did.
How about you, Michelle of Mega? What would you have done differently had you known that a crisis like this is forthcoming?
Actually, I think what's important in this COVID crisis with the ECQ is really interconnectivity. We are very lucky because in Zamboanga, 10 years ago, we have already set up our fiber optics. So our Zamboanga operations, Zamboanga plants, and Manila headquarters has been interconnected. So it's easy for us to do these things, the transition. We have been doing virtual meetings even before this pandemic. So we are really prepared for this innovation-wise, technology-wise. Our communication, most of our employees have data plans. So we are very advanced with technology. We get our reports every morning in our cell phones. So this ECQ did not really hamper our operations for the admin side. But as my father have said, the operations for production and the delivery side are the ones hampered. But we are striving. We have delivered a lot of sardines to the LGUs and our distributors. So we are coping very well. And I think what's very important is we invest in technology. We invest in the system that will help us grow. Because if we did not invest in SAP 8 years ago, I don't think we will be able to do this. We will not be able to release checks. We will not be able to fund things. So it's very important. Very important also to be interconnected.
Mm. I'm very happy to see that a lot of the Chinese companies here are already very open. Kasi diba, we have a perception that usually the Chinoy-owned companies are very traditionally run. But this shows that actually hindi. We're very innovative already. But Sir Steve, my question to you is, how can you encourage those traditionally run companies, the Chinoy companies, to invest in technology and go digital in this new normal?
So I'm grateful na nasabi ni Sir William at Sir Henry that and Michelle, both Michelle's there using SAP. So we have just implemented SAP this year also on our company, as we know that it's very important to have good systems in order for you to scale up your business. So I have that kind of a mentality, like a divisoria mentality, na, you know, pag laki ang divisoria, it's very
Puro notebook.
manual, very,
Notebook lahat, di ba?
there's two books of accounting and all of these things. But what I'm learning during this journey that we with Great Deals was the moment you decided in your mindset to really be above board and also invest on those tech, it's gonna scale up your business into a certain level that I've never experienced during my divisoria days, kumbaga, no. And I would like to really encourage. I think the first is to really have a change of mindset in terms of looking at paying taxes or abiding by the law, by the rules and laws of our land, so that we'll be able to able to scale our business to bigger heights because of this kind of a mindset that we need to have.
Okay, just to wrap things up to all our panelists, what advice or final words can you give to our Tao Ke attendees in this new normal? Let's start with Dr. Henry.
Valerie, of course, one thing is really innovation. So that's what Michelle has been, my daughter, saying that we have this also pillars in our company, like product leadership, operational excellence, customer intimacy, and innovation. And to let you know that we are proud to say that we have been using SAP since 2000. I've been using SAP since for the last 20 years. And the time when we are using SAP at that time is that I think only San Miguel and Petron is using SAP. So we're the third company using SAP. And we are happy that we make the right decision, although it's very expensive during that time. But we are also, of course, without SAP, we could not do all the controls that we are doing right now. And for you, of course, to be also resilient, also you really have to make sure now that your company is in good health. You have a good liquidity. You should make sure that all your investments are covered, of course, with a certain kind of balancing. And another thing is that I'm also delegating a lot of my authority at this time. In fact, I only spend around less than 30% of my time in companies. That's why Michelle has a bigger authority. She's, we have a lot of EVPs, but she will be a senior EVP in the very near future. But then the federation has been also, eating a lot of my times. Being the president of a federation of more than 185 different organizations over the Philippines, no joke. We have chapters in every city, from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi. Every time there's a typhoon and earthquake, we are very fast in reacting. Of course, we have also the volunteer fire brigade, we have medical missions, we built already more than 6,000 plus school buildings all over. And these are the things that we are doing. And for this pandemic also, the Federation has raised also together now with the other Filipino Chinese communities. The Federation as a leader, we raised already more than 285 million pesos. And then we have already distributing so many things already, distributing already more than 150,000 rice packs of 5 kilos, 3,200 stacks of 50 kilos rice. We give out already almost 2 million surgical masks, 50,000 gloves, 70,000 PPEs, around 13,000 N95 masks, 1,600 gallons of alcohol, 530 units of thermal scanner, 5,000 plus safety goggles. We also do 3 units of ventilators already that we gave out. We also gave out 34,000 test kits, Tetra Packs milk, 10,000, vitamin C, 600 boxes, folding bed, and also a lot of even happy toothpaste, a few thousands of happy toothpaste. So these are all the things that we are doing, and still, we are still doing it, and we have not stopped. And we do not know when we are going to stop this one, but We have already served more than 700 barangays, many municipalities, 200 hospitals already, and we are still doing it. So these are the things that you do. I mean, we're doing so many things in the federations, and I also chair Zoom in the federations, every MWF. We invited, of course, our central bank governor, we invited senators, congressmen. Yesterday, former president GMA was with us. And this afternoon, 4 o'clock, Harry Roque is going to join us. And then Mon Lopez is joining us today. Harry Roque is going to join us tomorrow. So, all of these things has been eating a lot of my time. But then I'm happy that I can serve the society with what I did, and I put third generations that are assisting me. And sooner or later, I'll be delegating almost 90% of what I'm doing. And I think they are in good hands, and I'm happy. Of course, as Tao Ke, there will be the new Tao Kes in the future. And we are actually looking to the 4th generation already.
Wow.
It's not going to be easy on all of us because, being the 2nd generations, I had my other siblings with us. I was telling them that you have to compete also with your other cousins who will be the next chairman and CEO of this company. And we have, of course, we have family constitutions. Coming out of OPM, Harvard, I mean, you cannot do without family constitutions. We have one of the best family constitutions professors in Harvard, Jim Davis, instructing us how to do it. And we are doing it. And then, we have this, that's why the successor will be there already. We are not afraid. But I was telling them, do not be very complacent just because you are the daughter or son of William Liong. You'll be automatically the chairman for the Sterling Pepper Group for the 3rd generation. You will be competing with your other cousins, and that's why everybody's on their toes, nobody's complacent. And I'm happy that all of them are really contributing.
So innovate and don't be complacent. Thank you so much, Sir Henry. How about you, Sir William? What advice can you give to the 1st generation Tao Kes in this new normal?
Well, continuous learnings. With continuous learnings, you try to learn so many things, and you could find out also how to innovate. That is the secret. If you are not learning, and you cannot find the innovations part on it. Having on the 2nd generations, well, of course, they have to work with the company, they have to work with the group, work with the board, and learn from the consultant, at least what they don't know, try to absorb what they know, try to apply. And always the OPM Group Philippines is really about sharing of good ideas and good practices. And for us, take away for a Chinese company or Chinese parent or a very strict parent, be open and let the younger generations take some part, also for them to be empowered so that they could be delegate the power to make decisions. Without that, it's very difficult for you to retire. And if you really would like to work until you die, then that would be a problem on your part because you are not developing your own family or your own personal people. If you don't have the family members there, hire consultant or hire professional managers, but you have to see whether the culture is the same. Are you aligned with them? If not, then you are going to have a problem. But with your children, with your cousins and so on and so forth, it's easy to manage. But of course, the end is how is their accountability? Would they be able to deliver? They ask for a big salary, okay, but where are we going to get the salary? You have to be coming from your earnings. If it's not coming from your earnings, then you're not worth it. So that's always the balance, the arithmetic there. Company is always paying salaries and they have to get it from somewhere. And those who are working for the company, they have to earn that. on, and it has to be more so that at least they would have profit. And in the end, that's why it's not a problem giving high salary as long as you could bring in the profit to support your lifestyle. But of course, for us, we are giving dividend to our children so that at least they don't have to wait for us to die so that they could get the inheritance. Right now, they are given dividends. If they have projects personally, they could do it. And it's free for them to do it. But the only point is give them some leeway. And I would like to, I have seen a lot of Chinese company that the parent is always complaining why my children would not like to join me in my business. And I could see for a reason that they are not open. And where they are not open, the children would not like to come in. They rather work for somebody else. But that's a pity. It's all about compromise. It's all about communicating both parties. And if sometimes if they need assistance, maybe I could be of assistance and try to connect the two parties. But sometimes it's very personal and it's very difficult because this is family relationship. And it's for the older generations to open up, and for the younger generations to always respect the elders. Because without that, they would not mean anything, because in the end, the children might be doing it to them also. So it's always a game wherein your sons or your children is looking at how you're doing things. They would also follow what you're doing. And if you're doing the right thing, then they would definitely do the right thing. And I hope that with this webinar, we could inspire a lot of Chinese or even Filipino company that they should open up and use the potentials of the children, of the family members, because they are there. Even if they don't have the knowledge, give them that knowledge of using that consultant to train them. And you could see the difference. And that's my parting word is, hopefully, they would have success in the future with just opening up and communicating properly. Thank
Yes,
you.
I love Sir William how you said that to empower the next generation, because sometimes the other parents, they micromanage and then the kids just turn away from the business because they feel suffocated. But this one, you're open and you give them accountability. You not only just empower them, but you also give them accountability. So to Michelle, Gankee, you're the second generation. What is your advice or your message to other second generation na medyo nag-aalangan pa, thinking twice if they're going to join the family business?
So if you want to join the family business, the first thing that, based from my personal experience, is really to start from the bottom, to know the ins and outs of every department, because that will give you the power of the knowledge and the information to help you not just know things, but also to decide on things, on what is right. And on top of that, um, we I'm inspired by my Lola, which is Maria. She always tells us that, I'm the eldest of the Apo, so I'm the Lola's girl, and she wants the third generation to really cooperate, be one big group, and me being the eldest should help to be the glue, for us to really work together for the company to not just survive the third generation, but also continue to the next generations. So the value that is instilled, if you want to be in the family business, is also being resilient, or you have to have a high adversity quotient. You cannot just give up or quit on any challenges that you see, and also you have to learn from your mistakes. And what's good, if my dad is also very open, um, when when the accountability that Uncle William was saying, that your head is on the chopping block. Our heads will roll. Um, my dad's favorite line. Um, you really have to take accountability and to learn from it, and not only that, but also solve it, and that's the way that you can learn. And while doing those things, me, also my siblings, we actually enjoy it. It's not it's not working to be stressed. It's working to be fulfilled, and you know that it's for your family. And the last thing is, we also treat employees like family, because when employees are happy, they will be motivated and also contribute more to the company.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. And talagang dapat mag-step up yung second generation. Don't be complacent na, I'm the COO, child of owner, di ba? You really have to step up and really deliver pa. The responsibility is actually bigger. To you, Michelle of Omega, what is your advice or final words for the second gen?
Actually, not everyone is destined to join the family business. But for me, I think if you are needed in the family business, and if you feel you can contribute and help move the family business forward, I suggest you help out. We are lucky to have parents who have built a business for us to handle. That's really what it is. Kasi not all have know what it is to give back to the parents. So dapat siguro you have to think about it. And the traits, I think it's important that in everything you do, you give it 100% effort and be persistent. You don't take no for an answer. There's always a way. And you should always have plan A, you have plan B and plan C. So you're prepared on what the outcome will be. And as Michelle has said it, you cannot do it alone. The people are very important. The right people can bring your company forward. So we are grateful for our mega family. We have very good people, and God has given us these people, and we are very very lucky. And one last point, actually, family support is very important, especially to me, because I'm the only girl. I have 4 kids, and I work full time, and it's not easy to handle being a mom and working. So I'm very lucky to have a very supportive husband, and it's one of the reasons why I can do my job very well, and he supports me very well. And my mom also is a very strong woman. She also helps us out in the business. So, and I think both of my brothers who are also working with us, one is in sales and one is an engineer for Sambuanga. They're doing a good job. So we're doing well with our roles. So I thank my dad for giving us the free hand to do everything that we want and spend everything that we need.
So parang talaga yung family values, it really coincides with the corporate values, no? Pero maganda rin, Michelle, that you mentioned that not everyone is meant to work for the family business. So my question for you, Sir Steve, is that what's your message to people who actually want to start their own business instead of joining the family business?
Okay. So just one suggestion was always look for a mentor or a discipler. I think as they have said, Sir Henry and Sir William, that innovate. But for us, younger generation, I think we need to look towards wisdom. And as personally for me, I have mentors and disciplers that I could go up to ask questions so that I'll be able to lead our company to a better state. You know? And then in terms of having your own path, there's always the courage and faith that we need to, it's not easy to be a founder or an entrepreneur or let's say the first generation to start a business. It takes really different kind of skills, no? And the truth is, not everyone is meant for those path, no. So it's very important also, where you're strong at. Are you the leader type? Are you the founder type? Or are you the one that can help build up someone that's leading the way, no? So that you'll be able to be fulfilled also in life, no? And I would like to also end with a story that I heard from one of my mentor about a teacher that brought a glass of water sa class niya, and she brought it in the table and put it on the table, and she shook the table and the water spilled out. And the teacher said, "Oh, natapon yung orange juice." And then the student said, "Sir, ma'am, it's not orange juice, it's water." Just like sa buhay natin right now during COVID, we are being shook. Whatever thing that goes out of the glass or whatever inside us, whether it's grumbling, it's complaining, or it's hope or gratefulness, yun yung importante that we hone what's inside us for us to be able to survive this pandemic also.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. And you know what? We have a lot of the attendees who have questions pouring in. So I'd like to start with a question by John Yu for Dr. Henry and Michelle Gankee. So the question from John Yu, he said, Daphne and I are very inspired by what you did to your business. My question is, among the many businesses available, what made you venture into rice, which is unknown territory and highly diverse from your paper business?
Is it John and Daphne? I think they are my favorite brokers, if I'm not mistaken. I want to, of course, congratulate for the triplets that they had, Daphne. And anyway, I think you already savored my rice already, and trying to do anything in uncharted course, no, uncharted waters is very difficult, but. Maybe, when I venture in rice now, it's very provision. It's really what you call this confidential. Because I do not know anything about agriculture, but I was thrilled by the former president. He was still the vice president during that time. Estrada was telling me about what he would like to be when he becomes the president. He'd like to put agriculture as his top priority. And because of that, I did my research and I found out that China became self-sufficient because of hybrid rice, and I was able to, through my common friend, meet the National Treasurer of China, Professor Yan Dongping. And because of that meeting, we strike a common interest, and he likes me so much, and he would like to impart his technology. So the moment when I came back, I started doing my own research and development, and we made an accident. After that, we came out with this hybrid rice that actually revolutionized the whole agriculture now in rice, not only here, but in other countries. We are proud to say that we are not only the Philippines, we are in Indonesia right now. We're in Bangladesh, we're in India, we are also in Myanmar. And we used to export around 500 tons of our seeds every year to Vietnam. The Vietnamese were saying that we are buying your seeds and they were planting it, we are producing the rice, and then we are shipping it back to the Philippines. And that was the biggest irony because, government has not really make a lot of effort in doing this hybrid rice because it's such a new technology, and there are farmers who refuse because of tradition to adopt the new technology. So we are doing a lot of things. We are doing techno demo, we're giving the plant now, pay later. And we are happy, that right on, close around 500,000 are already using our seeds, and then maybe if we reach around 1 million hectares using our seeds already, we'll be self-sufficient. And, sometimes being an entrepreneur, you venture into things that you do not know because it's really, for me, I think it's very providential. And I have no other ways of trying to see how I venture into agriculture. It was really out of my line of business. But again, I'm happy, that I ventured that. And, as an entrepreneur, you really have to look for markets, and also you have to look for other new business. And I think another thing for that is that I finished engineering. Just like William, I think William is also engineering, but to tell you that if you finish engineering in UP, especially mechanical engineering, you do not even have 3 units of accounting. So you finish engineering, you do not even know how to interpret a balance sheet. You do not know even what's a debit or credit. That's why after that, I went to Ateneo. I took up accounting for non-accountants. I took up a lot of short courses just to beef up. But the best combination will be really engineering an MBA or OPM Harvard later on. I mean, that's the best combination because engineering lets you have this analytical mind, and it's very easy. The reason my father at that time was asking me to take up economics at that time. Do you know what I told my father during that time? I said, economics, that's only supply and demand. I mean, there's no challenge for me, economics. No. Because at that time, these economists, they enjoy a very high prestige in society. But then my father said, okay, we are in business now. Why don't you take up marketing? I said, marketing? I mean, marketing is palenque, buy and sell, marketing. No, I don't want, no challenge. And then why not management? Management, that's common sense. No. So I took up engineering. That's all. And the rest is history already, but I'm happy now. I did the right choice. Take up engineering in UP. And also because of that things, you really venture into things that you have these bold steps. Now you really take bold steps as an entrepreneur. And for one thing, also we are not afraid of competitions. Competitions left and right, but we really eat competitions for breakfast. We pray for the survival of our competitors, so that we would have a chance to show superiority. We don't eliminate our competitors; we let them survive, and that will keep us on our toes, so that we'll not be complacent.
Very wise words, sir. I mean, to be an entrepreneur, you really have to have a certain appetite for risk, diba? And to love competition. Diba? So our next question is from Anonymous to Sir William and Miss Michelle, Miss Michelle Chan. What changes do you see in the global market that will influence the economic landscape for Philippine-made products?
Okay, let me answer that first.
Okay.
Henry, you were eating your competitors for breakfast. I hope kasama mega sardines yan.
It will be a good, it will be a good combination. Mega sardines and Doña Maria rice. That will be the best.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Anyway, for that question, siguro I'll let my daughter answer that, and she is in a better position. Okay, take it away, Michelle.
Michelle, I'd like to repeat the question for you now. What changes do you see in the global market that will influence the economic landscape for Philippine-made products?
Actually, I handle export markets, so I know what is happening in the other side of the world. Right now, the demand for our sardines is really high, especially in outside of the Philippines, within the Philippines and outside of the Philippines. So I think in the global world, it will have increase in demand for food products, especially from the Philippines and also Southeast Asia region. But I think once it normalizes, it should go back to the normal rate, the normal consumption of our sardines. But this COVID-19, we don't really know what will happen next. So we don't know if we will run out of food. We don't know if we will run out of sardines to catch and sardines to can. So we just have to pray, I think.
Take it one day at a time, no, while having some foresight. Parang it's hard. It's a uncharted territory kasi, so we don't really know what will happen. But thank you for your answer. We have another question. It's the last question. This one is from Lolita Tang for Sir Steve. Are there any best practices on e-commerce that you could suggest to us, especially during this COVID crisis, for those SMEs who are still doing the traditional way of doing business?
So most of us right now during the COVID-19 are in Facebook, TikTok, all of these things. No, one thing that you could do for your business, number one, is to create a community, social communities, join Facebook groups, create Viper communities for your brand or for your business. That's one. Number two is provide a place for your e-commerce. So you can do Lazada, Shopee, or even your web store, so that your community can go through your e-commerce site so that they'll be able to purchase your goods. No? So those are the basic things. And number three is influence. So either you top influencers or create digital content that will use Facebook ads or TikTok ads right now, Instagram's ads, so that people will know so that you will be what we call there's an weekly activation of your brands towards your target market. So those are the three things that you can easily do, even though you don't have enough funds yet. Create a simple online store, whether it's in a platform like Lazada, Shopee, or in your own web store, and then use the community that is part. Facebook in the Philippines is the Philippines has one of the most number of groups sa buong mundo, no? And you can harness those groups, community, as what we have seen during the COVID days, na everybody was sharing in their Viber, where can you buy this, where can you buy this, all of these deliveries. So you can have those things for your SMEs. And then number 3 is create digital content. Ang sabi nga natin, content is king, so that people will be enticed to really consume your content and get your brand out.
All right, those were very informative. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you to all those who asked questions. And also, I think with this the webinar that we had, we already have an idea of what a modern Tao Ke is, especially in handling a family business or starting your own business. So we will define what is a modern Tao Ke. Well, M stands for maximizing connections, which means really nurturing our family and business relationships. O, out-of-the-box thinker or innovator. You always need to challenge yourself to be creative. D means dedication to improvement or being open to change because it's a must for innovation. E is entrepreneurial, meaning you have to be open to taking risks as well. R is resilience amidst challenges, especially in a global health crisis like now. It should encourage you to do more rather than let it discourage you. And N, a new normal mindset. You have to be future-proof and think of long-term benefits all the time. And together, these qualities make up a modern Tao Ke. And I hope you take these qualities to heart while striving towards innovation. And speaking of innovation, guys, modern Tao Kes now have an amazing opportunity to innovate their business with Globe My Business Academy, which is the SME arm of Globe Telecom. Globe My Business Academy offers not just telco products, but also digital business solutions to help Taokes run their business with ease. And I heard they also have one of the most reliable after-sales service. So you can always count on Globe My Business Academy to better your business. For tips and inspirational stories for entrepreneurs like yourselves, visit mybusinessacademy.ph. And for more information on Globe's products and business solutions that will help innovate your business, visit globe.com or call the Globe My Business Academy hotline 121 anytime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. And at this point, we would like to say goodbye and thank you so much to our distinguished speakers. Let's give them a virtual round of applause, guys. Again, thank you so much for sharing your stories and insights with us. Dr. Henry Lim Von Liong, Mr. William Tiu Lim, Miss Michelle Lim Gankee, Miss Michelle Tiu Lim Chan, and Mr. Steve C. Thank you so much, guys. It was such a pleasure having you, and have a Globe afternoon. Thank you so much.